welcome to another up close video. Today's one is looking at Tonic Showcase number 4, which is the Egg-Cellent Easter showcase, and it's a little bit different for a showcase because this kind of looks like more like a stamp club, but it is actually a showcase where they have given you a stamp set, a die set, and some blisters as well to create your shakers with too. So it's similar but different to a stamp club, because with a stamp club you kind of get more the coordinating dies to cut out the characters and stuff, but with this showcase it's more of a standalone kind of stamp set and die set, although they do coordinate with each other for some of the dies. For example, this small Easter egg die cuts out this Easter egg die cuts out this Easter egg, and this top portion cuts out this Easter egg. And the reason why they've mostly given you those three that coordinate is because then you can use the stamps and the dies and the blisters together, so you can cut your aperture with the die, use the blister over the top, and then you can actually have the stamped one behind it as well, as a different alternative kind of way of using them. And as well as having the full egg blister, you also have the cracked egg blister, so you've got the die to create the aperture for that as well. And then you've also got options. You could possibly use maybe not that, maybe part of this piece to give you a different design behind the bottom of the egg, or you can use the actual design by the bottom of behind the bottom of the egg, and you also have the corresponding design in the top of the egg as well, so that you can actually use the top of the egg and have it separate. So you can have the shaker one, which is the bottom, and then you can have like the top off to the side. And actually, did I just say that or not, that cuts out that? I think I just said that. I can't remember, but anyway, you do get that one to cut out that one too. So if you wanted to, you could have this a solid colour behind the shaker, and then you could colour the top of the egg in the same solid colour as well and cut that out and have it next to it too. And with these shakers, I have done one card with each of these. I've got so many cards to show you for this month. There are 12 different cards. I did already film a clip, which I'll insert later, of 6 different cards where I was trying to use like everything, and I did make use of the 2 shakers on 2 different cards as well. But the ones I'm going to show you in present time, I haven't really used the dies or the blisters too much. I was just sort of, oh no, I suppose I have used the die, mainly just the sentiment really. But yeah, I was kind of playing around more with the stamps, because you do know I love my stamping. But yeah, with these shakers, I can't 100% remember what my cards look like, but I think with this one I used it so that the wheelbarrow went over the bottom of the shaker, and I think I put the hat on the top of it as well to make like a funny card that the rabbit was pushing along an egg in a wheelbarrow with the hat on top of it, which I thought was kind of funny to do as well. But anyway, past me will show you those later on, but let's actually have a detailed look at the gorgeous stamp set first. So this is the Egg-Cellent Easter stamp set. I've just got mine in the normal like cellophane bag packaging, but I presume because this one has come in the folder with the magnetic sheet inside, I presume this one will just come in a folder similar to the stamp club as well. And so again, this kind of A5 folder system fits perfectly in the orange A5 storage folders, which I'll link below, and also the Duck Egg Designer's Choice one. Although it says Designer's Choice on it, there's nothing stopping you from putting Showcase and Stamp Club in there as well, if you only have a few of each of them, or even if you just prefer the duck egg colour. You know, there's no reason why you can't just buy the duck egg ones and store all your dies in them. And I put it as an annotation in one of my videos recently, but they have actually come out with sets of 6 of the refill pockets, so you can get 6 of these with the magnetic sheet in for your A5 storage folders as well. So I'll make sure that's linked below too, and the showcase will be linked below as well. So yeah, let's look at this up close. I went to do this and then got off on a tangent, but we've got multiple different sentiments in here and loads of adorable little characters, and they are so fun to colour. I have actually, did I colour all of them? I think maybe at least 4 or 5 of the 6 that I'll show you in the other clip, and 3 of the ones that I'm going to show you as well. I've been colouring with alcohol pens. But you can also just use like the Easter eggs and stuff for heat embossing and create really cool backgrounds that way. So my sped up video for this month is actually heat embossing onto specialty Tonic cardstock, mostly using like the Easter eggs and the little flowers and stuff as a different kind of way of using this set. Because like, as soon as I got this set, I was like, oh, I'm going to stamp out all of the cute little critters and colour them in my favourite medium, which is alcohol markers. And I kind of didn't really think about other ways of using them, but I know I like to show you lots of different ways of using them. So I thought I would throw that different kind of sped up video in as well, just to give you some more ideas. So let's start with the little characters. We've got this adorable little chick, which in one of my cards I made him juggle, so he had little eggs juggling around. In another one of them I've kind of made him juggle again, because I did really like the look that he's juggling, but I made him juggle with flowers and the straw hat as well, just to be something a little bit different. And he could also be going to give you like a really big hug. So, you know, with the current situation at the moment, it's quite nice to send somebody a big hug at Easter or any time of year if they just love little chicks and stuff. Then another little chick is this one. So he's got his arms going off to the side. He could be like going ta-da, he could have just thrown something, he could maybe even be singing. I've got deja vu saying that, so I might have already said that in the clip that I'll put in later. We've got this little fella who's sitting on the ground with his legs out. He could have eaten too many Easter eggs. He looks a bit like he's laughing to me as well. But also the three different characters actually work really nicely, stacking them on top of each other as well. So one of the cards I've done is a like slimline DL kind of a card, and I've stacked them all up. So this little fella's on the bottom because he kind of looks like he's got a little bit squashed and is sitting on the floor. And then I've put this one in the middle and this little guy on the top as well. Then, as well as the three little chicks that you get, you also get the rabbit, which I think he's so adorable. In one of the cards I've done, I used the rabbit, had him walking across the ground, and then I flipped this upside down and made it so it was a balloon, because if you flip it up this way, you can draw a little bottom piece to a balloon. And I did the rabbit walking along holding a bunch of balloons, which are upside down Easter eggs, which I thought was a cool idea. He is designed to be pushing the wheelbarrow, which is great. And also you can tilt him on his axis too, because he's standing on that 1 foot and he looks like he's stooping over to be pushing the wheelbarrow, but you can like tilt him a little bit and have him at a different angle as well if you want to. So there's lots of options of which way round you can kind of move him. And also the straw hat fits really nicely on the rabbit too, as well as on the chicks. So you've got different options with how you can dress them up. And as well, the stamp set kind of suggests it, that pose that he's in, he can also be holding the basket as well. So you've got, again, different options, but this little fella could be holding the basket too. This one could have the basket draped over his arm, and within the basket you can either do carrots for the rabbit, because you've got a gorgeous little carrot, or you can do the small little Easter eggs, or you could have it with a few flowers on it as well, and make it look really pretty that way. You also have a little butterfly, which I love butterflies, and they're always great just to add to a card, especially on this one, because he could look like he's just let the butterfly go, or he could be trying to attract the butterfly, or this one could be like laughing at the butterfly, or, you know, again, this one could have just let the butterfly go and he's watching him fly off. So lots of different ways of incorporating the butterfly into it. And especially if you're going to make try and put these characters on maybe a larger card, having the butterfly off to one corner, it kind of completes the scene. So there's not like just a big empty space, you've actually got somebody in that, you know, more empty area of the card as well. So that's also really nice. Then you have got 3 different flowers. So you've got a gorgeous sort of little kind of daisy sort of a flower, a slightly larger one with slightly different petals, and then this one, which I think looks like the front view of a daffodil, the way they've done the wiggly trumpet kind of looking in the middle, but you could turn it into whatever kind of flower you want with your colouring. There's an up close look at the hat. I can't remember if I showed you that, and it's also got some flowers on. So I do like to use the flower stamps in conjunction with the hat, because then you can kind of coordinate your colours across the design as well. Then Easter egg wise, you've got this gorgeous large Easter egg, which can be a normal balloon or even a hot air balloon. I think drawing a little basket dangling off of this, it would make the perfect hot air balloon as well. And even the little one too can be a balloon or a hot air balloon too. And they've got lovely patterns inside them. They look fabulous just heat embossed as well, which I'll show you on some of my cards, or you can go to town and completely colour them in as well. So lots of different ways of using them. I did actually colour every character when I used them, but there's nothing to stop you just stamping the characters tone on tone to build up a background and then have one like focal coloured in one as well. I just didn't get around to doing any samples with that. And then you've also got the top of the egg, which has got a crack in it as well. So you could do, this little fella is like tossing the top of the egg up in the air, or this one could have just, you know, just hatched from his egg and the top of the egg is next to him as well. So lots of different ways of using these standalone or with the actual shakers as well. I think I might have had him sitting in the egg for one of mine. I can't remember. It was so long ago I made the first lot of cards. But I think there was supposed to be on the packaging for this. I haven't got the real packaging, so you might actually see some of them, some of the cards I'll show you later on the packaging for this as well. And then sentiment wise, you've got Egg-Cellent Day, so that can go with any of the, where you've used any eggs on the cards. And you can do have an Egg-Cellent Day as well, or you've also got down here Good Easter, so you can actually partially stamp some of these and do have a, so don't ink up the N, and then you can have Egg-Cellent, knock off the day and put Easter as well, so you can mix and match them and not just use them in the way that they've, you know, sort of been intended to be used. You can mix and match and create more sentiments. You can do have a and not do the N, cracking, and then Good Easter. And then you've also got Hop to It, which goes really nicely with the rabbit as well. So it's really packed full stamp set. I really do like this one. I've really been enjoying using these. You can tell by making 12 different cards with it. But yeah, really fun, cute little Easter cards. I think they'll cheer anybody up if you send them one with those little characters on. But as well as getting the stamps, you also get this beautiful die set, which obviously it can pretty much just be used standalone, but it does go nicely with the stamps. You've got coordinating sizes of things, and also the banner here can fit the sentiments on it as well, which is great. So I'll just pull this out of here. And we've got a large basket, which is really nice. It's got all of these like scallopy sort of designs in it, and cut from craft card. It looks really lovely. And you've got the gorgeous handle on there as well. And you also have so the middle die cuts out completely, but you also have the extra edges. So you've got the inside and the outside. So if you wanted to, I mean, maybe even make a gift tag that is the shape of a basket, you can actually cut the solid out to go behind it. Maybe even cut two of them, so you've got the professional edge on the back side as well. But you can cut that solid piece out and even cut out the middle of the handle too, which is really lovely. I think the basket looks fabulous decorated with flowers, whether you stamp out the flowers from the stamp set or you actually have two different flower dies in the die set as well, which is really brilliant. So you've got this gorgeous one, and they're just crying out for a Nuvo drop in the centre of them, and then you've got this sort of one as well. They kind of emulate the ones from the stamp set. This one's particularly looks like one of the stamps. This one's got a different number of petals to any of the stamped ones, but they'll go really nicely together. You can have a mixture of stamped ones that you cut out and die cut ones as well. Then you've got more like full Easter egg ones. Actually, I think this die, you know, I said there wasn't that many that coordinated. I think that little Easter egg die would cut out the stamped Easter egg as well. So I think you've got more that coordinate there. Basically all the egg ones kind of have a die that go with them. So you've got this one, which is the top of the Easter egg, which coordinates perfectly with the stamp of the top of the Easter egg. So you can cut that out straight away and use that, or you can cut these two together and you get that gorgeous pattern inside them, which I think it would be very tricky to paper piece, but if you do really love paper piecing, you might be able to piece that back in. I would probably just stick to doing those larger diamonds, just because they're like the largest piece that's in there. It'll be easier to do that, but you definitely could do paper piecing with that. Then you've got the bottom of the egg as well. So again, with that same pattern in it, but the outside of this one coordinates perfectly with the blister bubble. So if you want to make a shaker card, I think I've shown it in sped up videos before, because there's been like the coffee mugs and stuff, and the alcohol shakers and things, and numbers and circles, and a few more that have come in kits as well. But the way you use these kind of ones is you would cut this aperture into your main card blank, or not, well, not the card blank, the main piece that you're going to stick on the front of your card, and then you will glue this behind it, so that you're hiding the lip of the shaker pouch, but then you've got the shaker showing through the aperture. And then these actually come with adhesive on the back of them. So this adhesive is for when you've put your shaker elements inside and you stick the backing piece on, but you do still have to actually stick it to the back of whatever you're working on. But as well as having that shaker pouch, you also have this shaker pouch, and I think this would make a really nice hanging decoration. I'm not sure how many blisters you actually get. I only had 3 of each when I got sent mine, so I'm not 100% sure. They do usually come in packs of 5, so I'm guessing that you'll get a pack of 5 of each of them. But if I find out before I edit this, I'll put it on the screen at the bottom down here, telling you how many you get as well. Or if I don't know until it launches, I'll put it in the description box below the video. But you get the die that makes the aperture for this, but you also get this one, which has got a gorgeous like lacy scalloped design all the way around it, which would make the perfect little mat of an Easter egg on a card. But you can use it together to create a frame. You could cut this down slightly, so you're just trimming off a little bit of the acetate from around the edge, and you could put either put a piece of acetate on the back so that it's bulbous on one side and flat on the back, or depending how many shakers you get, you could put 2 back to back and have it like more of a bulbous egg on both sides, and have it as a cute little dangling decoration that you might want to put on like an Easter twig decoration in your house. So I think that would look really lovely. And then as well as that die coordinating with the blister, it also fits absolutely perfectly around the Easter egg as well. So you can cut that out and have the little white border around the edge like all of the Stamp Club kind of designs. Maybe even, oh yeah, I was going to do that. I forgot that. I was going to combine some of these with some of the little characters from the Stamp Club, because there was that set that had the tortoise and some hippos and elephants in it, and I think this would look beautiful having a tortoise with the Easter egg and stuff, just to make it a little bit quirky and different of an Easter card. So if you got that set, it might still be available actually. If it is, I'll link it below. But if you got that set, I think they're drawn by the same person, so they're all kind of like a very similar style, so they should go really nicely together as well. And then inside that egg, you also get this beautiful pattern. It's kind of got a striped design with a load of florals across it, and I think it looks really lovely. You've got like larger florals, which you could layer the flower dies that you've got. You could layer them on top of that as well to give more of like a 3D feel to it. And you can use any of these by themselves or together as well, which is really nice. And you can also put this pattern behind the shaker too. I did that in one of the shaker cards that I'll show you later on as well. You also have a beautiful scripty Happy Easter sentiment. It's got a couple of flowers in there as well, and a little swirly design to kind of keep it all together. And it also has the separate bubble to go with it. So on one of the cards that I'll show you, I actually cut the bubble and then also cut the sentiment from the waste piece that I'd cut the bubble from and placed it back inside. So you got the same pattern going across, but you got the open aperture and then the sentiment as well. You have this lovely little bow, which is really, really nice actually, and you can actually cut the top portion a second time and like shape it a little bit and stick it on top to give a really 3-dimensional kind of look as well. And then you get a couple of different banners or like scallopy decorations that you could either put across the eggs or along the top of the basket as well. I think the scallopy one looks brilliant across the top of the basket. So you've got the basic scallop shape, and then you've also got an interior design that puts piercing holes and also small little holes in there as well. You've got this little curved banner, which again can have any kind of sentiment that you have in, but it does fit Cracking, Good Easter, Hop to It and Have An in it as well. So you can use it with any of the, well, almost all of the sentiments from the stamp set, and you've also got the pattern to go inside it as well if you just wanted it more of like a pennant banner or something. I think you could fold that in half and make it a little pennant and hang it on some string. So put string through the centre of them and fold them down over it as well for something different. And then you've got this little one too, which I used it on one of the cards that I'll show you later on. Again, you can fit parts of the different words inside it as well. And not only do you get the actual banner, I really love this, that they've given you this piece that actually gives you the two pieces that will sit on top of here. So you could actually cut them together and give yourself more like a skeleton banner that's got like a skinny outside edge going around both of the pieces. But you can actually cut this, and then you can have two of the pieces and you can try out different sentiments on them. Maybe stamp a few different ones and then you can try them out on the final card which sentiment you want to use. Or if you have directly stamped onto this one and your stamping wasn't that good, or you didn't like how it turned out, or you wanted to change the colour, you can then just die cut this, stamp it on this and stick it over the top. So you've got like more options to sort of fix your card if you accidentally stamped a little bit off or something. So I really love that they've given you that as well. And then finally, the last dies in the die set are this small little Easter egg. I really like this one. It's got a nice more open pattern. This one is great for paper piecing. I did paper piece with this one, and I actually did a card I think where I'd almost solely just used this die to do a background. I think I put glitter on it as well. But also, as well as just cutting those two together to use for that egg design, you can also cut out the stamped egg as well. So I hope I've gone over that in enough detail. I've been talking for ages. So that is all of the dies and stamps and the blisters from this month's showcase. And I'll pass you over to Past Me to show you 6 cards that I created with the set, and then I'll be back to show you the other 6 that I've done as well. Okay, so here are the samples that I've done. I've kind of done 2 that focus on the stamp set, 2 that focus on the shakers, and 2 that focus more on the die set as well. So hopefully it'll give you some overall inspiration for all of the different sets. So this is the first one. I just love this little fella. He looks so sweet. And I just thought the way he was standing, he could be like taking a bow. He could be going to give you a big hug, or I just thought it'd be really funny to make him juggling, and then I thought I'd put a butterfly in with the sort of circle of eggs that he's juggling as well. And I also used a few glittery Nuvo drops, it's the silver crystal ones, just to kind of fill in that circular element. And then obviously because he's juggling eggs, I had to have an Egg-Cellent day. And you can also switch out day for Easter as well, which is really good, depending on, you know, it could just be somebody who loves little chicks, and then you can send it for their birthday as well and have the punny sentiment. So that is the first one. Then I did this one. Well, I thought I'd do a DL card because they seem to be in at the moment, and I instantly thought the eggs could easily be balloons. You see, they're supposed to be eggs, but if you stamp them up the other way and just draw on a little bottom piece to the balloon with a black pen and a little string, you've instantly got some balloons, which I thought was hilarious. I've used the little Hop to It sentiment. I've tried to keep with the same colour scheme throughout all of these cards as well, because they should hopefully be on the packaging. And then this little fella, the gorgeous little rabbit, he's got his hand out because he's supposed to be pushing the wheelbarrow, but I thought why not have his hand out because he's holding a bunch of balloons. And then my original idea was to have him floating in the sky like I've done in the past with the little tortoise on some balloons, but then I thought, well, why can't he just be strolling along holding the balloons as well? So I thought I'd do him like that, just added a little bit of shading underneath to make it look like he's actually walking on the ground, and I think he looks so cute. He's just really sweet, that rabbit. Really, really cute. And I love doing them in these kind of colours. This sort of like soft taupey brown sort of colour scheme. Really lovely. It's so sweet. And then I just added a little butterfly on there as well, because you know, you can always have a butterfly on a card. I've used it on most of these cards actually, and I've done a few of those silver crystal drops on there as well. So that's two that are like really simply just using the stamps really. Then I've tried to really incorporate the stamps and the shakers together as well. So I was originally going to put the sun hat on the rabbit, but then as I was laying out the card, I was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if you actually put the hat on the egg? And then I've tried to make it look like the egg is in the wheelbarrow and then the rabbit is pushing the shaker egg. And inside the shaker, I've coloured the stamped image and put that behind the shaker. And I've also just used some of the ice white circle confetti so that it doesn't obliterate the colour too much. And then also in there, they're all kind of clumping together a little bit, but there's also some stamped and cut out flowers in there too, just to add something a little bit different inside your shaker. But obviously you could just use sequins and stuff if you wanted, or you can actually get Easter themed sequin confetti, can't you, that you're supposed to like sprinkle on tables. You could actually put that kind of stuff in there too. And you could even with these do that technique where you get like the food safe foil and you put it over the back of it, and then you could actually have something chocolate in there, and then you could open the back from the inside of the card and take it out as well. For this one, I did the sentiment, have an Egg-Cellent Easter. Originally, I'd put the word Easter down here, and then I was like, oh no, I didn't take the word day off the sentiment, because it says have an Egg-Cellent day, but I wanted to make it say have an Egg-Cellent Easter, and I'd left it say, so it said have an Egg-Cellent day Easter, and I was like, oh no, that looks terrible having that. So I pulled the Easter off from down here, and then it perfectly covered the word day, so it worked out quite well. So now it's just all the sentiments up in that top corner, have an Egg-Cellent Easter. I've added a few extra of the little flowers that I used in the shaker to make her look like a little girl pushing the wheelbarrow, and adding, like, bringing the colour up to the sentiment as well. And then obviously you can't have a rabbit without the carrots, so I just added a few carrots on the floor. So it looks like she's just had a break maybe, and now she's carrying on pushing the wheelbarrow. So I thought that was just so cute to do, like to lay it out like that. So that's one just using more of the stamps with just the shaker kind of portion. And then this one is using the stamps, the shaker portion, but using the intricate dies from the die set instead of using the stamp to go with the shaker. So in the background behind the shaker, I've stuck the intricate piece for that egg shape, and then I've backed it with a piece of card, and then for this one I've cut the intricate into the top of the egg and the solid, stuck them together, and then I've used the same colours of markers that I've been using across everything. Originally I was going to have the little chick sitting in the egg, but I couldn't cover up his little legs because they're so sweet, so I just had to have him jumping out of the Easter egg, and I thought the have a cracking good Easter would be a perfect sentiment for this one. And I've just added a butterfly again just to pull the colours across. I could have done a pink one actually, but you know, just to sort of make the colours go across the whole card really, rather than just being concentrated at the bottom. And again, I've used some of the silver crystal Nuvo drops to accent on there as well, just so it's not just all white background, it's got a bit of interest with the little dots on there. And then the final two are focusing more on the die set. So this is using a lot of the die set, well, it's just 2 dies actually, well 4 dies if you count the little bit that he's standing on, but I mean using them over a lot of the card. So this is creating a background where I've cut out multiples of the eggs in different colours. I think I've got 12 altogether, 3 green, 3 yellow, 3 pink, 3 blue. And then when you're die cutting them, keep all of the fall away pieces. And the way I did this one is I took some of the double-sided adhesive sheets from Craft Perfect, put it on a piece of cardstock, and then I placed all of the outlines on there, and then I came back in with the interior fall away pieces that I saved from all the different colours and pieced them back into the different ones, and then I added some glitter over the top. I used the ice white glitter because it hasn't got any interference in it, and I thought that would go better with these bolder colours. So that's how I've done that. And the little ledge is that gorgeous little scalloped piece which you can actually use to decorate the basket as well, but I decided to use it as a little ledge. And I thought he kind of looks like he's either like set something free, so that's why I've put the little butterfly there, or he could be singing, or he could be just like proclaiming something. So I actually used the egg stamp and stamped it in the marble statue ink, which is from the Merry and Bright set of ink pads, and like cut a little piece onto here so it kind of looks like a speech bubble, and then I stamped the sentiment "Have a good Easter" in the speech bubble, so it kind of looks like he's talking and kind of looks like he's either just released the butterfly or is going to try and catch the butterfly as well, and I thought that was quite a sweet little layout. And then the final one is pretty much just the dies except for the Hop to It. So I did Hop to It Easter, so this die actually comes like this and it says Happy Easter, but I just snipped off the word happy and then used the word Easter for this card. And I thought Hop to It Easter was quite a funny kind of sentiment. And this banner is really cool because you actually get those two interior pieces to stick on there. So if you are stamping on them, cut out a few extra of those raised up pieces and stamp out a few of them so you can play with the sentiment, or you can just get your placement perfect without having to recut the whole large banner. You're just like recutting the small little ones, which is great. And that word Easter fits perfectly on there. You could actually have cut out, you know, like cut this twice and cut the word happy off the other one and then place the word happy over the first bit of the banner as well. That would have looked really good. And then I did a similar thing for the eggs as I had done on the previous card, but I cut a solid egg and the detailed egg and kept all the fall away pieces, and then stuck the intricate one onto the solid one and then paper pieced them back in rather than doing it onto a double-sided adhesive sheet. But I think it works really nicely. It just gives such a lovely pop of colour. And then the basket I have cut from Craft Card because Craft Card is perfect for baskets. And I've just backed the bottom of the basket with another piece of Craft Card and then trimmed around the edge of it just to give it a solid piece so I can put that egg inside the basket. I've used the gorgeous little bow as well, and I've actually like backed it onto blue card and then 3D'd it up a little bit as well. And then I've just added a few of the flowers too to sort of tie the colours in across the card and give a whole nice little scene. And I've just used white Nuvo drops in the centre of the flowers and then some more of those snow crystals in the background. And for the background, it looked too plain just being on a white background, but none of the other cards I hadn't done any ink blending on them, so I thought if I just did ink blending on this one, they wouldn't kind of go together as a set. So I just took my scoreboard and I actually scored on the front and the back. So you've got like debossing lines, there's 3 debossed lines, and then there's also 5 embossed lines, so I've scored on the opposite side of the cardstock, and I think that gives a really nice like direction for the card as well, because you go from the focal element up to the sentiment too. Yeah, that's the 6th one as well. So I'll pass you back to future me to finish off the video. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed those 6 cards that Past Me just showed you, and then I've got 6 more to show you as well. So the next 3 are all alcohol colouring as well, just kind of quite simple cards, just using the cute little characters to create a design. So this one I did draw my own little grass on the bottom, but if you had that stamp club set I was talking about, you get like grass and cloud dies in that, and so you could use them in conjunction with this too. And this is the one again where I was trying to make him kind of look like he was juggling, and he's got the flowers and he's thrown his hat up in the air as well. And then to make the sentiment a little bit different, I've done Easter wishes. So the Easter is from the stamp set, but the wishes is actually the Winter Wishes sentiment strip die. So the one that says Winter Wishes, and you can just trim off just here and after the S, and you just have the little word wishes then, and then you can use that with birthday, Christmas, you know, any kind of occasion that you want to. I really love the little scripty wishes, and I think it looks like he's holding it as well, so he's kind of juggling but also holding a sentiment too, so I think that's a really sweet little card. I just did a little bit of ink blending on the background. I think I used tumbled glass Distress Oxide. I did a little bit of splattering with a Nuvo glitter marker which was Arctic Blast. So you just scribble some of that onto your mat, add a bit of water, and then you can flick it on in the background. And then I was just using the Nuvo alcohol pens to colour in as well. So I think the other cards I used Copics, and then I used the Nuvo ones on these. And then I've also done this little quick one which says hop to it, with the little bunny rabbit carrying a basket of carrots this time. And I've just drawn a kind of little ground area. All you do is just draw a few overly circly kind of shapes to be little rocks on there. And then I just like to do a wiggly line that's kind of a little bit broken up and even has like a few little dots and stuff in there as well. And I've added a little butterfly trail to the butterfly, just doing like dots of black pen, just so it looks like he's flying off in a different direction. And then simply just the hop to it sentiment on there as well. Then I also did this one because I explained earlier how cute they are stacked on top of each other, and obviously it works brilliantly for a DL or kind of slimline sort of style of card. So I've got them stacked on top of each other. I coloured them differently, so I used some lighter yellows for the top and the bottom, and the darker yellows that I'd used on this one as the middle one, so it kind of gives a little difference in the type of little chickies that are standing on top of each other. And then for the sentiment, again, I wanted to show you how you can mix and match your sentiment dies into, you know, any sort of sets like this to extend the sentiments and make it feel not so repetitive if you're making your Easter cards from it. You're not using the same sentiment on each card. Not that it matters, because you'd be sending them to different people, but I kind of like to mix it up a little bit and not keep using the same thing. So this is one of the header sentiment dies from Tonic that came out a little while ago. These two sets are quite nice small sizes, and so I've used the Sending Love from this set. I can't 100% remember what it's called, but I'll link it below. But you've got all sorts of different ones like thank you and best wishes and thinking of you, get well soon, sending love, lots of love, and a lot of them can be transferred into like Easter, Christmas, birthday kind of sentiments as well, just by adding the different sentiment on the end. So I did just draw a little @ sign on there, so then it says sending love at Easter, but again you can use sending love at Christmas if you were doing a Christmas card as well. So I really love having sentiments like this that you can use on their own, but you can also extend them with stamped sentiments or Dymo label, like I like to do a lot of the time as well. And I thought having it going up the card would be a little bit different too, and it kind of looks like he's just put that little bit up there. So they're sending love and then he's decided to put at Easter on it. So I thought that was a sweet little card. So I've done those three. Then these last three are in my sped up video, and I was trying to experiment with heat embossing onto a specialty card from Tonic. There was a video I did a while ago, I think it was a kit video that had the triangular box, and I'd used the triangles as Christmas trees on a card, and I had been stamping with clear sticky ink onto the frosted mirror card, and then I tried to dry it with a heat tool and noticed that the colour changed. But I wanted to see if you could actually successfully heat emboss onto specialty cards as well. So I picked out 3 different types of specialty card. I've got normal pearlescent, I've got one of the iridescent cards that has this kind of rainbow in there, and then I've also got one of the matte mirror cards as well. And I used 3 different embossing powders. I used 4 actually altogether, but 3 different embossing powders onto the different types of card. And if you do hold the heat tool too close, it does change the surface of the card. I'll show you on this one. But if you are careful and hold it maybe like 3 times further away from the card that you usually would. So usually when I'm heat embossing, I'm probably that far away from the card with my heat tool. But if you make sure you're more like this far away, it does take longer, but you're not going to mess up the surface of the card, and you'll still be able to melt the embossing powder. So this one was using that gorgeous large egg and a few of the little flowers, a couple of the smaller flowers. This one actually matches the flower that's on the egg as well, which I thought looked really nice. And then I used the pearlized pistachio, does it say pearlized? Pearled pistachio Nuvo embossing powder, which came out in one of the colour trends from 2020. Can't 100% remember which one it was, but I know this is one of the newest colours I treated myself to. So this is the pearled pistachio, and I think it works really nicely on this cardstock, which is the smooth mint cardstock. I think it works really nicely on top of there. And then to make it a little bit different, I also cut the Happy Easter sentiment out of the same cardstock and placed it on top, and I think that gives a really nice kind of look. It almost looks like you've embossed it with that sentiment, but you've actually just stuck it on the top and on the top of the heat embossing as well. You can see in some areas it has slightly changed the sheen of the card where I've got a little bit too close with the heat tool, but it does work with melting it on there. You've just got to be a little bit careful, and you might want to practice on a small scrap of card first if you're going to give this a go. And then I also used some matching Nuvo drops on here. I think the cardstock and these came out in the Wood and Walk colour trend, so that's why they match so perfectly. And this is the Soft Mint Metallic Nuvo drops, and it works perfectly on there. It all kind of looks tone on tone, and to make some of the details stand out on the Easter eggs and in the centre of the flowers, I just used a white gel pen on there as well, just to make that stand out a little bit. And then to tie the white in, I put strips of white down the card and used a white card blank as well. So I really like how that one turned out. And then this one I think is my favourite. But if I hold it at a certain angle, you can see the heat did change the surface of the card in some areas where I got too close. It had only happened in a couple of areas, but I deliberately did it in a few more, so it kind of looks more intentional because it's in little patches all over the card rather than just focused in one or two areas. But I love how it looks heat embossing onto this rainbow card, and I don't know why I've never thought to do it before, but it works really, really nicely. It's a little bit speckly because I didn't use enough anti-static powder on there, but I really like how that's turned out. And that is the, I think it's the purple iridescent cardstock. I can't 100% remember the name, but it will be linked below. And then I also used the crushed mulberry embossing powder on top. This is a slightly older embossing powder. It's been around a little bit longer, but I love this purple colour. Really beautiful. And I think it worked perfectly on this card because it's actually kind of the colour of the true card, but on the camera it really picks up the rainbow, which is lovely. And I just think it looks so nice having that on top of it. And then just simply a white sentiment, Happy Easter, cut out. I stacked two of them together to make it a bit thicker. I decided to give a larger white border around the edge because this is quite eye-catching and bold in your face. And then I also just did a few white gel pen dots on there as well to kind of fill out the pattern too. But I really love how that turned out. So there's that one. And then the final one, I don't know, I'm not as keen on this. I think it's because the embossing doesn't show up as much on this cardstock. It does at that angle, but some angles like this one, it doesn't show up as much. And you can just see the white pen. But this angle, I like this card. So this was using the, I think it's called Diffused Violet Pearlescent cardstock. And then I also used the Strawberry Slush embossing powder on top of this one. This one, again, is one of the newer ones that's come out in 2020 as well. And this is where I've used the bubble from the sentiment, and I've also cut the sentiment out of the piece that came out of the bubble. And I did actually trim off the edge of this, so I trimmed off a little bit of the bubble so part of it hangs out, which I thought would give a nice different look. And then for the background, the heat embossing, I used the smaller egg and the small little flowers with the pink heat embossing. And then I also used the smaller egg die with the pretty pattern inside, again cut from the Diffused Violet card, and put a few of them around so the pattern kind of spills off of the rectangle that the heat embossing is on. I also did the white gel pen on there to tie this panel in with the rest of the card because I like to use white card blanks. And then it did still look a little bit empty, so I took my clear sticky embossing pad, ran it down the card, and then actually used some of the Pearl Luster glitter embossing powder, which again is one of the newer ones from 2022, and it just gives a slight sparkle and a little bit of creamy colour to the card, sort of behind where the sentiment is. So I thought that finished it off quite nicely, but you kind of have to get it in the right light for it to look really nice. That angle looks nice, but when you get it and it's just the white, I don't know, yeah. I'm still on the fence about this one, whether I like it or not. But I had great fun actually experimenting using these onto the specialty cardstock. Because I think I always forget that you can just like heat emboss a outline image and you still get a really pretty card, but I usually tend to do it onto white card with like clear or white embossing powder, and then I ink over it. But then I was like, well, I have all these beautiful colours of embossing powders, why not try it onto a specialty card? And I'm really glad that it worked, but definitely make sure to hold your heat tool further away than you would normally, and be really careful not holding it in the same place for too long as well, because it does make funny sort of dull areas on your cardstock. But I think if you do it intentionally, I don't think it looks too bad when it's like that. But I mean, if I had been more careful, it probably would look even better, this one with the rainbow iridescent cardstock. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this up-close video looking at the Tonic Showcase number 5 Egg-Cellent Easter. Everything that I can link below will be linked below, so like the storage folders for it, the actual die set, any of the embossing powders and stuff that I've used as well, I'll link below the video. And I really do appreciate anybody who uses my links below the video. They are actually affiliate links, so if you click on them and then buy something, whether it's what I've linked to or just anything else off of the website, I do get a small commission from it, and I really do appreciate you using them. So thank you so much if you do go and use one, or if you have used them in the past as well. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a lovely day, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!